part is about the particular exams that you have to give. So one of them is the English proficiency test, which is during our times there were, I guess, two different tests. One, I mean, either of them you could have taken either of them. One was called the TOEFL, and the other one's the IELTS. Now I guess the TOEFL is done away with. I'm not pretty sure, but it's probably it has been done away with, and now you have to give the IELTS. But okay, so there's a thing. You can get an exemption for that. I have got an exemption for that for both my I mean for 3 of my degrees. So in the first place, if you have studied for, let's say, so the test is about whether you were able to understand and write proper English, like able to speak, hear and understand and write proper English. That's the test. So if you have studied in a English medium school and you have various kinds of paper publications, that's why I stress on paper publications a lot. But remember that all kinds of publications does not work. So your publication has to be in a good journal, in a reputed journal. If that is there and you have done, let's say, a little bit of good internships, maybe some moot court competitions, some debate competitions and all, then the university might give you a so if you do not get the exemption, then you have to appear for that particular test, and different universities have different scores that they accept. For example, the high-end universities, I guess, would accept somewhere around 7.5 or maybe 7.5. Yeah, but
five. Yeah.
Right. So so make sure, and all this information are available with the on the website of the university. So make sure when you are applying for a particular university, you read the application form and the directions very, very carefully. Also remember, timing is the most important thing. I mean, it is no, and I have no shame in telling this, that in India, sometimes even if you apply after time, they might consider your application, but in the West, they won't.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. You might be the best student with the best application and everything, but if the deadline has passed, they won't consider your application. Sim, you want to add something to it?
Also, I think, if it's not just about the deadline, it's also about, how I told you when I applied for LSE, the very next day they told me that, sorry, it's full. So I would suggest, you go way before, look at all the universities that you are interested in, and write down the application open date. So make sure, like, when the application is open, just go in and start filling out your application form, because you don't know how fast it's going to fill up. So while, the deadline may be one of the concerns, the other concern is also that it may already be filled up by the time you actually submit your application.
Right. And in order to do that, just to add to that, in order to do that, what you need to do is all the documents that you want to present in all the supporting documents, you then have to prepare the documents beforehand. So you have to have all your documents ready. So when the application starts, you apply, put all your documents in, and you are done. Now, I just want to add a few more things here. This also differs from country to country. For example, US is a little more difficult in this situation. Why? Because in US, when you are applying for a particular course, all your supporting documents or your application has to be, at least for the law schools, your application has to be processed through an organization called the LSAC. Now, what you have to do is that you have to send all your documents in hard copy to the LSAC office by courier. So that would be taking around 20 days in the normal time, and more than that during the COVID pandemic, etc. So you have to account for that as well in the first place. Second, now after they have got all the documents, then they would check all the documents and send you a mail that everything's fine. Then you can start applying using their own website. There's no other way around. But in the UK, it's a little easier because you can apply directly through the website of the university, and you can upload all the documents in soft copy with your application. So that 20-30 days period of wait is not there.
Yeah.
But the best and the best part of UK is that there's no application fee. As far as as far as I know, there's no application fees. But in the US, you have to pay application fees with all your applications. So an average application fee I'm talking about in the year 2013 was around $40. So that also is a difficulty in terms of making too many applications. So so as many as applications you are doing, you are paying a lot of money in terms of the application fees. So you have to strategize a little more when you are applying for US. But in the UK, you can have that leverage because they don't have the application fee. Make as much as application you want. You just need to, I guess, tweak the application a little bit in terms of the personal statement, and you are good. So that's that. So there are some technical details, and I would also later on someday we probably would also have a session on how to prepare the personal statement, because as Simitha mentioned, it is rather the game changer. The personal statement, or the statement of purpose rather, is the one which probably decides whether you can get the scholarship or not. That's the best part. Like, we had a chance of sitting with the professor, zeroing down on schools. So I got an offer from SOAS, and then from Manchester. So I had applied in King's College London, SOAS, and Manchester. But in London, I didn't get the offer. But from SOAS and from Manchester, I got it. Then there's an interesting thing there. So in the UK, if you are applying to schools which are closer to London or in London, so the expenses jumps significantly, including the fees. So it says that if in Indian currency, if one particular university in London would cost you around let's say 25 lakhs, the same course would cost you around 20 in Manchester or in the global north, in the northern part of. So the thing is, more closer you go to London, the expenses increases. And so I also got the offer from Manchester, and I made a little bit of research, found that Manchester is a pretty good school, and I mean, it's being one of the premier cities in the country, and the expenses were a lot affordable than that of in London. And we'll come to the expenses for more later on. But that's how I decided on Manchester. And also, I won't be lying by telling you that it's only academics. It was like Manchester United played a very significant role for me doing the second masters. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it. So, and to be very honest, like, I had a wonderful experience because I was probably the only student in the entire batch who had done a international law LLM, and then did a was doing a international relations. And I remember there was another one who was doing the reverse. So she had done international relations first, and then doing international law. So yeah, that was a brilliant experience. I'll come more about that later. So that's that. At any point of time, it should not go below that permissible amount. So basically, if they're asking for $4, which is roughly 400 rupees in India, and tomorrow, so you are having 400 rupees in your bank account, and you feel that you are covered, but tomorrow the amount, tomorrow the exchange rate has gone so high that your 400 rupees may now amount to only 3.5 pound. So in that situation, you have to again go through the entire process of maintaining the bank statement for another 42 days. So that's a tricky part. You have to check the exchange rate every single day from an official website that is also given in the university's website itself. So they have a particular website in which you can check the exchange rate every single time. So that's that.
Getting the bank statement, I think it doesn't necessarily have to be your own account. It can actually be like your
Yeah, yeah,
parent. From funnily, it was very odd in Malaysia. For Malaysian students, they don't require us to provide a bank statement. I'm not sure why, but I actually prepared that. But then there was no place for me to actually fill it, to upload it. And then when I wrote to them, they actually say for Malaysian students it's not necessary, but it can be anyone, your father, your mother, your brother,
yeah, yeah.
someone. Yeah.
Or that's for self-funding, by the way. But the only other way you don't need a bank statement in that situation. If you have a study loan, and if the study loan is fresh, I mean yesterday, if the study loan is approved and today you apply for a visa, that's fine, because now your bank guarantee is given by the bank. So that's done. But if you are furnishing your own funds, then that thing has to be maintained.
For the application of the program, I think you can also choose. There's I think the option to choose that you are looking for scholarships. So at that point, you don't have to upload anything yet, because how
Right.
scholarships work is you have to get an offer from the university, then you apply for scholarships. So you can
Right.
actually choose that you're looking for scholarship. But if say you're already accepted and you're given an offer and you want to apply for visa, at that point, if you don't have a scholarship, you have to probably give your bank statement, or if you have a scholarship, then you can show your scholarship letter saying that this people are sponsoring my education. So when you're applying itself for the program, you can still go ahead without the bank statement.
Right, right. And okay, so that's the application process. Now let's come to the scholarship part, which is very, very important. And I guess that's the most important questions that our audience would love to hear.